In this video, I'm going to share with you how I cracked the code to the feeling by Neville Goddard. And my promise is that by the end of this video, you're going to understand how you can crack the code in your own life. Now, who am I to share this with you? I've used this principle by Neville to change not one, but 3 different areas of my life. I first used it to take me from a failed college athlete to making a world championship team. The second area of my life, which was the most painful and really felt the most magic from this principle, was my relationships. For so many years of my life, I kept finding people who were unsure about me, who I'd have to chase, who I would try to earn and prove my worth to. And no matter how much willpower I put in, nothing changed the dynamic. They would leave, they wouldn't be interested. That continued to repeat over and over and over until I started implementing this and understanding the 3 secrets that I'm going to share with you at the end of this video. And it's completely transformed who and how I interact in relationships. And the third part that it's changed my life with is money. Before this, my money situation would go feast or famine, up and down. I felt powerless and I felt stuck to change my resources until I started using these ideas that I'm going to share with you. And that created an experience where I no longer had to struggle or strive or sacrifice my life in order to barely get what I needed. Now situations and opportunities come to me in a much easier and more abundant way. With that said, I want to give you more context in case you're new to The Feeling is a Secret by Neville Goddard. And I want to do that by sharing 3 different quotes from Neville so we can really get to the root of where changes are created. Now, the first quote is, "Your emotional state is the most powerful magnet in drawing experiences into your life." Now realize Neville doesn't say that thinking of that emotional state, thinking of who you might be, that's going to draw and be a magnet. He says that your dominant emotional state is your magnet. That is why the feeling is the secret. Now, to be clear, this could be unconscious. Something in you could be unconscious that is actually magnetizing these experiences, but we're going to get to that in the 3 secrets that I'm going to share with you. Now, the second quote I want to share with you to really get clear on why this feeling is so vital to changing the circumstances in your life. And the quote is, "You are the operant power, shaping and molding your world according to your beliefs and feelings." Realize Neville doesn't say that people outside of you, circumstances, are creating the feelings as to why you think the ways you do, the beliefs that are fueling these feelings. He says you are the operant power. So no matter what's happening in your life, you could feel so separate and so distant, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you don't have power to change your life. You've got to start understanding where that power is and how you've been unconsciously not understanding how to tap into it, which we're going to get to in the later part of the video. Now, the last quote that I want to share with you from Neville Goddard is, "Your mood or state of feeling is the key to the root of what you're experiencing in your life." Now, this is what we're going to talk about next, because this, I believe, is where a lot of people go wrong when they're trying to leverage this beautiful, powerful principle. Now, I want to share with you the 3 secrets to crack the code so that you can start experiencing the potency of this principle. But before we do that, I want to draw out where people go wrong and miss out on the magic of how powerful this principle is. So let me draw this out for you. You've got to understand that the feeling Neville Goddard is talking about is not a flash in the pan. It's not a temporary thought or maybe a couple hours where you're feeling on top of the world. It is a core feeling, and really it's a state of consciousness. That level of understanding and awareness of yourself, and I'm going to put a consciousness map up here. And basically, if you have low levels of yourself, if you view yourself like you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're going to be in the lower realm of consciousness. It's a distortion from your true self, but that feeling state is going to be in that low vibrational level. And what did Neville say? He said that the root of what you're drawing or attracting into your life is simply from that that level of consciousness, that level of awareness. And this is what it looks like, or how I see it, where people go wrong, where, you know, this is that dominant idea you hold of yourself, okay? It could be unconscious, where maybe some days you're feeling good and other days it's like a wave that crashes down on you, feeling guilty, shameful, unworthy, undeserving. Now, you might be putting a lot of work in, right? Doing imaginal acts, sats, all those things. So those are the thoughts, those temporary feelings, which are important, but they're not enough to create the changes and the potency of the magic that Neville talked about. And here's why. They're these temporary things. They could go up, they could go down, they could go up, they could go down. Maybe they stay here, then they crash. It doesn't really matter. What matters is this. This is your level of consciousness. That's why you could be feeling good, and then all of a sudden things hit you and it feels like you're going backwards. Well, you're not going backwards. Nothing has really changed. You have the initiation, starting to get that momentum going, but just like a rubber band, if somebody tied a big rubber band to me, the ones you use when you're weightlifting, and I started running, the more tension I would get on that rubber band, the harder back it's going to pull you, because essentially you're moving out of that self-concept, and your deep subconscious beliefs feel that you cannot stay safe if you move out of the idea that you hold of yourself. It's the you, right? That you is not really you. It's the constructs, the conditionings, the programming from the past that are real valid experiences. But when you start feeling outside of this, you say, nope, nope, nope. And then that's probably when you have these crashing experiences. Everything seems to be going wrong at the same time. I feel you. I have been there. But as you start to expand that level of awareness, which we're going to talk about in just a bit, that's what's going to help you actually raise this, the true feeling, higher. Your consciousness, your awareness, the concept of yourself is going to evolve, back to the consciousness map here, into love, neutrality, joy, those higher levels of understanding. So if you do have a temporary crashing thought, it's not going to crush you, right? So many people think of that experience, but they're not really feeling from it. So we're going to get more to that in these 3 secrets. So let's get into number 1. Now, if this video is resonating and you want my help in your own life to apply this, to get to the root of where you've been stuck, I am still offering one-on-one sessions. We'll sit down over Zoom and start to shift those perceptions of yourself. I've worked with so many people all over the world who have been able to practically apply these principles and start seeing massive changes in their life. If that resonates, there's a link below. Fill out the form and I will email you. So the feeling, that level of consciousness, and again, Neville said that if you want to change your circumstances, you don't do all these magical techniques. You do the techniques so that you'll change your consciousness level. If you can do that with one technique, perfect. But ultimately what you're doing is, if this feeling exists up here, maybe it's love, right? You go and you have this romantic relationship, you'll be in that consciousness of love, or maybe it's about money, whatever it is, right? You attach that outside experience will make you feel these things. However, if it exists up here, but your level of awareness is down here, you have these past experiences, you don't actually have to do anything. More work, try harder, do it over rapid affirmations, right? The robotic affirmations. No, all that's going to do is be the rubber band that goes up, and then it's going to pull you back down. And then you're going to be exhausted. So what do we need to do? We actually just need to let go of this. Right? We're going to shift our perspective of ourself, let go of the distortions that were formed when we didn't have a mind that was fully developed to actually interpret what happened to us. And when that happens, you naturally rise up. We're naturally high vibrational beings. Okay, so we don't have to do more. We have to learn how to calibrate our higher level of being, which is learning how to let go. So let me show you how to do it now. If you feel ashamed, you don't feel deserving to have the romantic relationship, to have the amount of money, whatever it may be, you will have gotten that from a past experience. Most likely you had a caretaker in your life. There was a level of disproportionate power. There was a power imbalance. So maybe this caretaker, they always question what you were doing. Maybe they always question how you did something. Maybe they just question your abilities. Maybe they blamed you for things that had nothing to do with yourself. Maybe they didn't give you the love and attention. Maybe they were forgetful and neglectful. Whatever it is, they treated you in a certain way, okay? You took the reason that happened as to be your fault. If I was good enough, I would have gotten what I needed. If I was capable, then they wouldn't question me so much, because this person in our sweet little minds knows better than us. And most of the time that's true about the logistics of life, but not necessarily about the emotional dynamics. They might be emotionally immature or emotionally incapable of taking care of our needs, okay? So those roots of what's holding your consciousness down, they're tied in a certain level of perspective of yourself. How can you change that? You can take your beautiful mind, fully developed, congratulations, all the life experiences you've gained since this time. Do not relive the experience through your eyes right and when it happened. Do not relive it. You're going to look at yourself, pretend I'm with you. This is me. We're going together. We're a community. We're in this together. I want you to think about a child, 3, 4, 5 years old. If you saw an adult treating the child the way you were treated, what would your opinion be of that? What the hell is wrong with that? That kid was never responsible for making that adult disappointed or embarrassing them. That's the adult shit, and we can start to give that back to them. The more and more you do this, the more and more you break free of those anchors and naturally evolve and create the space for the new feeling that is going to attract the experience that you want. Now let's get into part 2. Now the second part is going to be in the moment. What lens of consciousness are you looking through to interpret the situation happening? Now this isn't every single situation. These are going to be the ones that stress you out, bring you a lot of anxiety. They push on your old wounds from number 1, where that adult, you had some kind of experience and you feel you can't be safe unless you play small, unless you reject whatever. So, okay, so maybe you're going out and you're trying to get a job started, you're trying to get a company started, you're trying to make more money, you go for an interview, they say no. And you're like, I knew it. They always reject me. Nothing ever works out for me. So in that situation, if you interpret the no money, it's because of what you lack, which is the same as number 1. Remember, we blamed ourselves for whatever that a parent couldn't do to us. The reason it is happening because of us. Same interpretation, blame, shame, guilt. That is the old feeling, okay? That old level of consciousness of rejection, which is probably what happened as a kid from the adult. That's going to go right back. It's going to fuel the past feeling, and then it's going to be more likely to interpret it that way again. This is how I broke out. This is what I share with people I work with one-on-one that is tremendously creating change in their life, because there is a moment, there is a gap, okay? And minding the gap with ABC will completely change your life and help you step out of the old feeling and step into the new feeling. And what does that mean? Awareness. Oh, I'm starting to feel the story come up. I'm starting to feel the story that I'm not good enough. Okay, I know in that moment I'm rejecting. I've got to start breathing. I've got to start coming back into my body, starting to do somatic exercises. I can go for a walk to reduce that fear scanner, because your eyes are scanning and it's taking away the power of your amygdala. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to maybe do a somatic hug, squeezing here, help ground myself, because I'm going to comfort myself and override this fear that nothing works out for me. And I'm going to break this pattern and do this new choice, which is what C is. And the more and more you do this, the more and more you'll feel safe and start to step into it. And after you move out of being triggered, which is what this is happening here, then when you're in your adult mind, because when you go flashbacks here, you're in your limbic brain, fight or flight, right? You're powerless, helpless, hopeless, and stuck. Boom, childhood. So as you move out of this and make this new choice, you can come back with your adult mind and say, okay, what can I do? What does this mean? Did I really want to work for them? Okay, what are things I could learn here so that I can have autonomy and power to take action? Dr. Joe Dispenza calls a state of being, which is what you get attracted to from the outside world. It's your order form to the universe, thoughts, feelings, and actions. So as you start taking new actions into the world, new situations will be drawn to you. New perceptions will be opened so that you can see things that you didn't have eyes before to see. When you shift your perspective of yourself, what you see in the world completely changes. Now let's get into part 3. So the third secret here that's going to help you radically shift and crack the code into the feeling so you can start tapping into this magic is part 3. What will it mean if you get that relationship, if you get that amount of money, if you get that job? What will it mean to you? What would it make you feel? What end emotions would you have? Maybe the amount of money would help you with stability. Maybe it's about freedom. Maybe a romantic relationship can help meet a need of connection or belonging. The more you start to understand yourself, the energy coming back to you, introspection, the more you feel disconnected from it, because you're actually understanding, oh, I feel that if I get this relationship, it will expand my feeling of stability or maybe connection. The more you get clear on the feeling you're actually looking for, not getting the $1 million and then I'll feel it, right? You're going to start to understand what you're actually looking for, start to understand, oh, it's already in my life right now. It's just in smaller portions. That helps to dissolve the illusion that you're separate from it. All you need to do now is amplify it. It is already part of you, but you've got to do this to also bring the consideration as to why you're doing this. If not, you keep thinking of it, you keep seeing other people experience it, and then you compare. And comparison is a form of self-rejection. They have it, I don't. It works for them, not me. Who's rejecting you in that moment? You. What level of consciousness is that? I would guess shame, right? You're not enough. Something is inherently wrong with you. That is not true. You always have been and will always be a precious, unique, vital part of this universe. The more you start to separate from that perspective of yourself that you've been stuck in, and you can upgrade, the more these things will also you'll feel deserving, you'll feel worthy of them. The more you apply these practical strategies into your life, I know it will completely change your ability to tap into the potency of this principle, and you deserve to experience that. Now, understanding this is absolutely life-changing, but where a lot of people get stuck is really getting to the root of their self-concept, which is a driving force of that feeling. That is what changed everything for me. So this next video right here, I'm gonna break down exactly how I was able to successfully change my self-concept so you can use what I learned and do it in your own life. Thank you so much for watching. I love y'all, and I will see you on the next one.